Hello. The Biden administration is working with private companies to develop vaccine passports, a way for Americans to prove they've been vaccinated.
Many people have spoken for and against the creation of these passports, but I want to bring in our panel now to see what they think. We have with us today longtime advisor to President Trump, Bruce Lavelle, Turning Point USA contributor and the executive director of USA Strong, Erin Elmore, and Democratic strategist Robert Patillo. Passport that you're required to have so you can get on an airplane, so that you can travel, so that you can go to the supermarket. These are not places I normally need an ID to get in, and so therefore I think it's very different. Your thoughts?
It's dystopian, it's terrifying, and it's hypocritical. Let's use the leftist argument for voter IDs. We could say, if we're going to use their logic against them, that this is racist and elitist. We know that communities of color in inner city neighborhoods of people that are less privileged don't necessarily have smartphones. They don't have identification. They don't have access to adequate health care. How are these people going to go out, get vaccinated, and then show proof thereof? It's really, really racist, and I certainly hope that someone sues and says that this is completely unconstitutional. The problem that we're going to encounter is that a lot of these large corporations are so, air quotes, woke, and they are essentially an arm of the leftist Democrat Party, and the same constitutional boundaries don't apply, so they have more leeway to do what they want. Let's just hope that this doesn't work, that we do get pushback, or else I will tell you what, folks, we are not living in a democracy. We are not living in a free country. We are not living in the United States of America. We are living in communist China, because this is what they require. So if you like this, you are not a democratic individual. I'm sorry.
I will say, for those of us with pre-existing conditions, it is a little bit terrifying to think that you could have your future employer just pull you up and say, oh, she's a cancer survivor. Do we want to go through that? Let's move on to the next candidate. You just don't know how far this information will go. But is that the situation here? At what point, as Americans, do we say Americans are going to help people in need, just people in need? We're going to stop looking at color.
God helps those who help themselves. My great-grandmother was an immigrant from Italy who spoke very little English. And what she said that has been passed down from generation to generation is, you don't work, you don't eat. And I think that's a very fair statement. I think the best way to rise yourself up out of poverty, it's been proven, three things: finish high school, work 40 hours a week, and don't have children until you're married. Those are three great ways that are pretty easy to rise up. Moreover, I think it's time that we start looking at people as a population, as a collective way to help each other. Look at the Jewish people. 1941, we can talk about that project. That's when the Holocaust started. And that was horrible for the Jewish people. Yet what have they done? They have picked themselves up by the bootstraps and made better of their own lives. We cannot rely on the government to save us. We need to rely on each other. We need to reduce taxes. We need to get ourselves engaged in the labor force. We need to work together as a nation. And free money does nothing but create dependence. It's almost as bad as a drug addiction. You get addicted to that drib and drab and that little bit of money. It's never enough to get you up out of poverty. It's just enough to keep you voting for more of it.
Keeps you dependent, Erin. I think you're exactly spot on with that. Erin